Hi there, my name is Jonathan Baumgart. I'm the CEO of Atomic Consulting. In today's video, I want to compare two licensed jurisdictions, Labuan, Malaysia and Vanuatu. So let's get started. So the reason I put together these videos is we often have calls with our clients who are serious about perhaps two regions, but are having difficulty deciding which is a better fit. So the purpose here is to help them see the major advantages of a region and also the limitations. So that's what we're going to discuss today with Labuan and Vanuatu. To get started, let's consider approval time. So if your focus is approval time, if you would like to get this license as quickly as possible, then the clear winner is Labuan, Malaysia. Now, I don't want to be held to this, but it takes roughly 6 months. The reason I don't want to be held to this number is every time you apply for a license, it's very subjective. Some applications are more complex than others. It depends on experience and other factors, but we can say, for the sake of argument, 6 months. When it comes to Vanuatu, though, it's much longer, definitely more than 6 months. That's just the nature of it. Now, what's interesting, because our team has a lot of experience, this used to not be the case. Vanuatu used to be a place to get a license very quickly. They have since made their application process more complex. They now require physical presence on the island and a local director, so it is now a longer process. For that reason, if speed of approval is the big factor here in your decision, then I would say Labuan wins out. So the next factor we can think about is the government bond / paid up capital. Okay, so I've done another video on capital because it's not the same when one goes from region to region. And these happen to be two of the most unique jurisdictions. So in Vanuatu, what you actually have is a government bond, okay? This is different from capital. You pay this money when you apply, but you can only get it back when you wind down the license and appeal to the government. So what's often recommended is to sell the license and include it in there as part of the sales price. If you were to try to withdraw the money, you can't in Vanuatu. In Malaysia, however, it's completely different. Now, I'll take a step back. In Vanuatu, the government bond is $50,000 US. In Malaysia, it's $500,000 or 500,000 Malaysia ringgit, which is subject to USD conversion, but we can say is a little over 100,000 US. What's unique in Malaysia is not only can you withdraw this money throughout the year, you can also spend it. And you can't spend all of it, but you can use it to offset some of your expenses. And that is very unique. I really don't know other regions that are like that. So here, when you're comparing and contrasting, you have to think about basically a bond that's frozen, we can say, for the most part. You can really only get it back if you were to sell the company, versus Malaysia, where the capital is very flexible and you can spend it throughout the year. You know, you do have to top it back up at the end of the fiscal period. That's a major advantage. I don't know which one suits you best. Perhaps you like that flexibility of being able to spend the capital, but it is double Vanuatu, or you pay the money and that's it, you don't think about it. But these are two major differences that you want to think about. So now I want to discuss leverage. So on the subject of leverage, Vanuatu will win out in the discussion. The reason is that there really isn't a cap on leverage in Vanuatu. I would not advise you to offer crazy amounts, but really you don't have any restrictions there. However, in Malaysia, it is hard set at 100 to 1. You cannot go above this. For many, that is unattractive, because the whole point of getting an offshore license is to offer more leverage than you would have in Europe or Asia, and 100 to 1 for some brokers may not be enough. So that's something important to consider. If leverage is important to you, then Vanuatu is the clear winner. Now I want to cover market making and overall risk permissions. So on the subject of risk permissions, what I mean by that is the business model. Can you do market making, or what is known as dealing on own account? Or are you able to only do a matched principal option, which means you cannot make a market? So when it comes to Vanuatu and Mauritius, here again, Vanuatu is the winner because this license offers all types of permissions. Well, essentially, you can perform market making, meaning, in a very simple terms, if a client sells to you, you're buying from them and vice versa. In Labuan, market making is forbidden. You must send all of the volume to a licensed liquidity provider, and there's no workarounds for that. For some, this is a deal breaker because market making is important. For others, they like this model, they don't really care. Going back to the leverage, 100 to 1 is not a big deal, so Labuan is more attractive. In Vanuatu, because you can do whatever you want, for other brokers, they may like this flexibility. Maybe they don't want to do full market making, but they have the ability to do both, and they aren't limited as they are in Labuan. So in terms of restrictions, though, I do say Vanuatu is the winner because they don't have any. I just mentioned these points because what's important for one broker or firm may not be the same for others. So that's something to consider when you're comparing both of these regions. Now I'll just talk about a few other final comparison points to think about. So, some other factors to consider. In Labuan, you're not allowed to target clients from Malaysia. It may seem a bit ironic, those are just the rules. In Vanuatu, this restriction is not present. This may not even be so relevant, but it's worth mentioning here. So if you wanted to target Malaysia clients, you really can't in Labuan. It's not allowed. In terms of the costs, I would say they're more or less on par. There's really not a major difference aside from the capital. But because of how the capital works, it's very, very much case dependent. You know, what I mean is because the capital is higher, you may say, oh, that's too much in Malaysia. But because you get to use it, that might not be so bad. The capital is basically 50% less in Vanuatu, but you can't use it. So aside from that, though, I would put the costs almost the same. You need to have a physical presence in both regions and employ local staff. So there's not too much there to compare. I will say, though, when it comes to banking, as a final consideration here, the banking in Labuan is much better. Vanuatu is not known for great banking. You have limited choices on the options. So if banking is something very important to you, you will get not only better local banking in Labuan, you'll also get access to more PSPs, more payment vendors at better rates. In Vanuatu, you can still get PSPs, you can still get payment merchants, but the rates won't be as competitive. And the local banking is not as good. You may have to rely on what are known as neobanks or like third-party kind of banking options that aren't fully banks, but are kind of these sub-banks in order to conduct the banking. So that is another consideration. I'd like now to just summarize and wrap up everything. So with all these comparisons, it's very subjective. You know, I'm often asked, oh, which license would you take? Can you pick one for me? I really don't like to do that because I think it depends on your taste, the taste of the broker, the taste of the client. It's hard for me to say what you might like. And that's why in this video, I like to outline what I view are the major, limitations and advantages. If you want a lot of flexibility, like market making, unlimited leverage, Vanuatu is the clear choice. If that doesn't matter, if you like the fact that Malaysia offers access to good banking, if it doesn't matter that the leverage is restricted, you may want to consider that. Also, the flexible capital. These are all the things that ultimately you must weigh when deciding upon a license. I just hope in this video, this will help you at least get some kind of guidance and find yourself on the right path when making this decision. Of course, There's far more to talk about. I can't really summarize everything in a brief video. This gives you an idea of our knowledge, our level of expertise, and our experience. So if you'd like to discuss either of these licenses or others in greater detail, make sure to contact us and schedule a consultation call with one of our team members. We'd be more than happy to speak with you. And if you like this video, if you like the content, I would ask you to subscribe, to like the video, share it, and also provide your feedback. If there's a subject you would like us to talk about or you have a question, feel free to drop it in the comments. So I wish to thank you for checking out this video, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.